Day 3 of Saints training camp in the books, and the first practice where fans were able to watch practice for the entire time. Head coach Dennis Allen was saying how much the fans give that energy and a little bit of juice to the players as they get to perform in front of a crowd. It's not like the Superdome, but it does add a little bit of fire when you get a couple hundred people, a couple hundred of the Dat Nations watching practice. Some observations from camp, and really the play of the day that stood out to me was the pass that Jameis Winston completed to Chris Olave on the sideline in a very tight window. Great pass by Winston, even better catch by Olave with Alontae Taylor in coverage. Alontae Taylor and Paulson Adebo are in the middle of a cornerback battle right now. Both are going and rotating in the ones each day. Paulson Adebo talked to us afterwards and says that year 3 he's trying to be a little bit better. He was injured at the end of training camp last season, wasn't really quite right throughout the entire season. He feels healthy, he feels like he's ready to go and has improved his game. Certainly him and Alontae Taylor both battling for that outside corner spot opposite of Marshawn Lattimore, but expect both to be on the field this upcoming season. There were a couple of camp standouts that talked to us today. One of those was Rashid Shaheed, the second-year wide receiver who made an impact with those big plays in his rookie season. Remember, last training camp, Shaheed was injured and he didn't really get to have a full off season. He came midway through last season and really made an impact with those big explosive plays. Also made a big contribution in the return game. Rashid Shaheed says that his game has grown going into year 2. Now you're going to see more of a wide receiver from him as the route tree is now going to be opened up and available for him. He also was talking about the relationship he was building with Derek Carr when he went out to Vegas and worked out with him and all the other wide receivers. But Rashid Shaheed has looked so good in camp these first 3 days. Expect him to take that leap from year 1 to year 2. Another camp standout so far in these first 3 days has been Peyton Turner, the defensive end who's entering his 3rd season. And now things have opened up on that opposite end, on the defensive line at the end, opposite Cam Jordan. Who's going to be the defensive end that takes that spot? Peyton Turner certainly is a good candidate to do that. Again, this is another person who's been battling injuries throughout the early part of his career. He feels like he's healthy and he's at a good spot going into this training camp and battling for that starting position. He was talking a little bit about how Marcus Davenport, who never really quite came out to form as that first-round pick, he was a good friend of his who left for Minnesota, and now he's kind of sliding into the opportunity. He sees a chance to now seize that. He's looked good so far, but again, it's also kind of hard to gauge how good he's been because they haven't put the pads on. That's going to happen next week. Tomorrow, there'll be one more practice before a day off Sunday. They'll be in shells again, and then Monday, the Saints will put on the pads for the first time in training camp.